On an adventurous dive off the coast, Carter was thrilled to stumble upon what seemed to be an unusual gathering of crabs. The sight was mesmerizing, with hundreds of them huddled together, but as he approached them, the sight that greeted him was far from ordinary. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. Carter had never seen anything like this before. He had been doing deep dives in these waters for a long time now, and though he had seen most of what these waters had to offer, if not all, he knew that there were a lot of crabs that called the bottom of this ocean home. And he often encountered them down here, but never like this. A group of what had to be hundreds of crabs, maybe even racing up to close to 1,000, were all coming together into one big pile. As he scanned the water ocean floor, he could see that more of these creatures were quickly approaching the collective. What the hell could possibly be driving them all to this spot? Carter could not help but be really curious about this. It could be something simple like a dead fish carcass, but he had seen that here before, and it never drew out a reaction like this from the crab population. He had to get the crabs out of the way in order to see, but the crustaceans were anything but pushovers. If they got a hold of one of his fingers or another body part, they could do some serious damage with their pincers, and Carter's thin diving suit was not exactly prepared to withstand such an attack. But besides his suit, Carter had also brought a small underwater camera with him. It did not take the best pictures, but if he got close enough to the crab pile, he could easily make a picture that he could use to prove what he had found that day. And the whole thing looked even stranger on film than in real life. He swam around a little longer, looking for a stick or something he could use to drive the crabs apart from a distance. His oxygen was starting to run out and he had to get back to the surface and back home. So with a heavy heart and a lot of unfulfilled curiosity, he left the crab pile behind. Carter returned to his small boat and set sail back to land. He knew that his next couple of days would be spent working a full-time job, so he would have no time to return to the site. But he did make an effort to remember exactly where he had encountered it. In the moments that he had timed the following 2 days, Carter was doing research online to try and find something that could explain the crab's behavior he had witnessed, and he saw many articles on crabs coming together to feed, but no picture was even close to what he had seen. In a pile of crabs, most of them have no chance of getting to the food on the bottom. It just became more and more clear to Carter that he had encountered something truly special that day, and he was desperate to tell somebody who knew what they were talking about. Carter ended up calling the marine biology department of the local university. He wanted to share his finding with the students and professors there and see what their opinion on it was. At first, his calls were not taken that seriously and Carter was set to give up. But the next, on which he planned to return to diving, he got a call back. The call came from the university again, or more specifically, Professor Eric Ludwig. The man was a teacher at the school and an expert on sea creature behavior. Carter's strange story had made the rounds around the coffee table in the teachers' lounges, and Ludwig immediately had his interest piqued. He figured that no person in the world would have a reason to make up such a strange story and call them about it. And so he wanted to learn more about it. When Carter revealed that he had a picture of the ordeal that he had not mentioned or shown to anybody yet, Eric immediately realized that he made a great choice calling Carter. Excited by the prospect of learning more, did not hesitate to send the picture to Professor Ludwig. It stayed silent on the other side of the line. It was probably only 30 seconds or so, but to Carter, it felt like an eternity. Then he suddenly heard Eric mumble something on the other end of the line. This changes everything. In the muted light of the marine lab, Carter and Professor Ludwig convened, surrounded by charts and diving gear. Their conversation was technical and intent, focused on selecting apparatus that would allow close observation without disturbing the marine life. "We need to be observers, not influencers," Ludwig insisted as they compiled a list of specialized equipment. The tone was set. This was a mission of discovery, not interference. The team's roster expanded with the arrival of Dr. Jenna Hargreaves, a renowned crustacean behaviorist, and Liam's son, an expert in ecological preservation. They brought with them a fresh wave of enthusiasm and expertise. Understanding their behavior is key, Jenna stated, eyeing the underwater camera setups. And preserving their habitat, Liam added. Unpacking gear is equally paramount. The collaborative spirit was palpable. Every piece of equipment underwent meticulous scrutiny. The high-resolution cameras and environmental monitoring devices were tested and retested. Professor Ludwig's voice echoed off the lab walls, detailing the dive's logistics. "Our goal," he started, "is to observe and document, not disrupt." He then systematically dismissed usual suspects, mating, feeding grounds, as potential reasons for the crab's assembly. They talked through every possible scenario, from equipment failure to wildlife encounters. While their mission sought answers, their priority remained unwaveringly clear: the safety of each member and the preservation of the ocean's wonders they were about to explore. The team's fingers traced the dive route under the glow of desk lamps. The path from the boat to the site outlined with care to avoid disturbing marine traffic. "It's a labyrinth," Carter noted, the sea contours suggesting challenges ahead. The maps held secrets only the morrow could unveil. As dawn neared, the final briefing underscored the dive plan's finer points. Each member rehearsed their role, from equipment handling to emergency response. The plan was sound, the divers were ready. Carter stood alone on the deck, the ocean's expanse stretching before him. Stars twinkled above, mirroring the unknown depths below. The soft lapping of waves against the hull was a rhythmic reminder of the forthcoming descent. He pondered the silent world he would soon enter, its mysteries veiled in darkness. In the dim pre-dive light, the team gathered, hands joined over the pile of dive gear. They each vowed to tread lightly, to study without harm. It was a pact made with each other, and the silent witnesses below the waves, the crabs, the fish, the very ocean itself, to explore with respect. Bunks creaked as the team turned, seeking sleep that was reluctant to come. Their minds were adrift on the currents of potential discoveries. They were explorers on the threshold of possibly rewriting natural history, every possibility churning like the sea outside. Tomorrow's dive was a gateway, and they were the key holders. The ocean swallowed the sun's first rays as the team descended. A ballet of bubbles trailed their synchronized drop into the abyss. Carter led, his buoyancy controlled and precise, eyes locked on the dive computer's glowing digits. The world above receded, and with each meter, the ocean's embrace tightened, guiding them to the seabed's secrets cloaked in shadow and silence. As the ocean floor came into view, Carter's breath caught in his regulator. Where there had been hundreds, now thousands of crabs amassed, a living carpet on the seabed. The team hovered above the spectacle, struck by the scale of the congregation. Each crab seemed a purposeful participant in this mysterious assembly. The videographer, her steady hands guiding the camera, started to record. Through her lens, the mass of crabs transformed into a kaleidoscope of moving shells, their colors muted but mesmerizing in the filtered light. These images would become invaluable records of this unprecedented phenomenon. Gently, the behaviorist coaxed a handful of crabs into specimen containers. Each crab, now an ambassador of its kind, would help unravel the mystery above the waves. The team commenced their careful survey, probing the edges of the crab throng. Carter and the behaviorist exchanged a glance before gently ushering the creatures aside, revealing mere glimpses of the sand below. They worked in silence, aware that even the slightest disruption could ripple through the colony. The seabed itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting. The team employed gentle currents from their dive scooters to persuade the crabs. It was a delicate dance of push and coax, respecting the creatures' boundaries while urging them to yield their ground. The crabs, however, clung to the seabed like autumn leaves to their branches, resisting the artificial breeze with a surprising tenacity. Despite the team's patient endeavor, the crabs remained steadfast. Their collective resolve formed an impenetrable shield over the ocean floor. Ludwig, observing the scene, signaled a retreat to regroup, his eyes betraying a hint of admiration for the crab's persistence. The crustacean's behavior was a riddle wrapped in an enigma, the key to which lay somewhere beneath their clicking claws. The sound technician, headphones cupping her ears, captured the subtle symphony of the crab's movement. It was a haunting soundtrack to an already otherworldly scene. This auditory glimpse into the crab's world was as perplexing as it was mesmerizing. On the boat's deck, the salt air mixed with the team's contemplative mood. The initial dive had yielded more questions than answers. The group stood around the collected footage and samples, the day's encounters replaying in their minds. The crab's defiance had left them puzzled, the mystery deepening with each breath of ocean air. Charts and laptops adorned the makeshift research station as theories were proposed. Each hypothesis attempted to unravel the crab's behavior, yet none seemed to fit snugly into the puzzle. It's not food, not mating, not molting, Jenna listed, dismissing the common motives. The team's collective expertise, vast as it was, brushed the surface of understanding, yet the true answer lay elusive, challenging their scientific boundaries. Carter watched the horizon, where the water blurred with the sky, his thoughts troubled. Professor Ludwig stood before the microphones, his voice firm yet calm. "We stand before a living enigma," he addressed the gathering crowd. "I implore you, let us study this phenomenon with the respect it deserves." He spoke of patience, of science, his words a plea for time. The public listened, captivated by his conviction, the crab's plight echoing through the human sea. In the vessel's cabin, maps and minds came together. "We can't delay," Jenna insisted. They were united in purpose. Guardians of a deep sea secret, plans for a swift return took shape, each member aware that the world's eyes were upon them, and more critically, upon the crabs they sought to understand. With each piece of dive gear checked, the team moved with a speed born of urgency. Tanks were filled, batteries charged, cameras secured. Time was their most precious commodity, slipping away like sand through their fingers. They needed answers, keys to the crab's mysterious behavior, before curiosity or greed upset the delicate balance they sought to preserve. Security boats now flecked the area, a silent testament to the site's importance. The team, relieved by the enforced perimeter, could work undisturbed, They readied themselves, diving into the blue, under the watchful eyes of those committed to guarding the marine enigma. Clustered around a water-stained blueprint, the team, flanked by environmental custodians, "We excavate with precision," Ludwig declared, his finger following the projected pathways on the map. "The seabed must remain as undisturbed as the surface of the moon." Carter's hands, usually steady, hovered hesitantly over the device's controls. The machine, engineered to mimic a gentle sea current, promised to persuade the crabs without contact. The divers encircled the site, each movement measured, each breath controlled. The crabs, in response, began to shift, a slow and stately dance. The team watched, their hearts in tandem with the rhythm of the crab's reluctant departure. Slowly, as the crabs acquiesced, a new landscape was revealed. Carter and the team watched in awe as the seabed began to tell its story. The crabs, once a living veil, now parted to unveil the mysteries that lay patiently beneath their clustered bodies. As the last crab was ushered aside, the team's gaze fell upon the formations beneath. Not random scatterings of rock, but deliberate, angular shapes peeked from the sand. "Structures?" Carter murmured, his voice a mix of disbelief and awe. The stones bore the unmistakable mark of human hands. This was no natural formation, but history's silent canvas. The seabed began revealing secrets, a geometric shape, too precise to be nature's doing. Suspended above it, the divers felt a growing reverence. Under a dense canopy of crabs, something extraordinary emerged, a relic obscured by time and tide. Ludwig signaled for closer inspection, the implications dawning on them. Gently fanning away sediment, the outline sharpened, revealing a crafted artifact. Cameras captured their careful work as they prepared to surface the relic, wood and metal encrusted with age. The artifact, surrounded by the team, carried echoes of an era long lost. Amid theories, it hinted at maritime histories, settlements, and voyages of discovery. Laid out in the makeshift lab, carbon dating confirmed their wildest hopes. "It's ancient," Ludwig announced, the relic predating mapped waters. Instruments detected an erratic magnetic field, and Ludwig proposed it had a magnetic core. "The crabs aren't random, they're drawn to it," Jenna concluded. The relic served as a geomagnetic beacon, a lodestone guiding marine life. This discovery united marine biology, archaeology, and geophysics, sparking global fascination. Ludwig's presentation detailed the journey, from Carter's initial dive to unveiling the artifact's secrets. The tale of the crabs and the magnetic relic became a worldwide sensation. Recognition followed. Yet Carter found solace by the sea. The routine dive had become a life-altering moment, a testament to the ocean's power to enlighten. At a marine biology summit, the team explained the crab's magnetic dance, linking the relic's field to their internal compasses. Their collaboration had navigated the unknown, unveiling history and nature's interplay. With the site under protection, plans for ongoing research unfolded, safeguarding its integrity while exploring the relic's mysteries. Standing at the water's edge, the team felt united in their mission to preserve this marvel and reveal the ocean's secrets with reverence and wonder. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable tale like this one.